to meet anybody. You're not allowed to host anybody from out of town. Now, at that time, three angels, we know of this from when we were speaking about the Dhul Hijjah series, that three angels came in the form of human beings, Sayyiduna Jibreel, Sayyiduna Mikael, and Sayyiduna Israfil. They came to Ibrahim alayhi salam and they told him that, look, this is what's going to happen to the people of Lut. And Ibrahim alayhi salam said, oh, but, there's my cousin, my nephew Lut there. So we know who's there, and he's going to be saved, but not his wife. So these three angels, in the form of humans, they came to Sodom, the city that was practicing this filth. And they came over there, and at the city gates, they saw one of the daughters of Lut alayhi salam. So they knew who she was. They asked her that, hey, we want to visit Lut. She said, my father is not allowed to have guests at the moment because the city is gone perverted. So why don't you wait until the evening, and I will smuggle you into the city so that you can go and visit my father. The Quran takes a qasam in only one place on the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It's at this place, where the Quran says, لَعَمْرُكَ إِنَّهُمْ لَفِي سَكْرَتِهِمْ يَعْمَهُونَ. By the oath of your life, O Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, these people were drunk in their lust for this unnatural behavior. So the three angels, they came in and they got smuggled into the house of Lut alayhi salam, and Lut alayhi salam is speaking to them, asking them what's happening. So they said, look, your family need to get out. Allah's punishment is going to descend on these people because of what they're doing in the morning. Lut alayhi salam's wife was there. She was not a woman who engaged in that behavior, but she would be something of how right now in colleges and universities you have the Gay Sex Alliance, the GSA, an ally. She was an ally. She didn't engage in the behavior, but she said that if somebody else wants to do it, well, it's just a matter of preference. Some people like, this is the mindset. Some people like chocolate ice cream, some people like vanilla ice cream. Yeah, ice cream is ice cream. Some people like to show their affection this way, some people like to show their affection that way. This is the mindset. So she's like, if some people want to do it, it's okay. And these three people that came to our house, they look like people who the other town folks would like to enjoy their company. So she leaked out this news that Lut alayhi salam has three young men over at his house. That's when they came. And they were drunk at that time. لَعَمْرُكَ إِنَّهُمْ لَفِي سَكْرَتِهِمْ يَعْمَهُونَ. They came and they surrounded the house of Lut alayhi salam. And they're like, hey, we told you no guests. Now you got these three guests over. Hand them over to us so that we can enjoy their company. Lut alayhi salam was very embarrassed. Why? It's because he had guests over in his house. And now he's got this savage mob outside that wants to attack his guests and do what they want to do. In there, obviously, these three guests were not normal human beings. They weren't even human beings. They were angels. They were divinely protected. But obviously, they got out of there and they were fine. However, we look at Lut alayhi salam's focused da'wah. This comes in Surah in the 19th juz. 4 steps in how he did da'wah. We all do da'wah some way or the other somehow. We try and, you have a non-Muslim co-worker, he asks you, what is this thing you guys do? You pray and you wash yourself. Then you take that opportunity and you explain to him what salah is. Or you explain to him what belief is. So he explained this in 4 steps. First one, فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَأَطِيعُونَ. He reminded them of Allah. This is step 1 in da'wah. You remind the person of a divine being who everyone is dependent on him and he is independent of everyone. And he is that being who everyone is indebted to and has to show appreciation and gratitude. Step 1. Second, he focused on the action, not on them individually. So, أَتَأْتُونَ الذُّكْرَانَ مِنَ الْعَالَمِينَ. This action that you're doing, engaging in same-gender lust, this action, how can you do that? That's the tone that he used. أَتَأْتُونَ الذُّكْرَانَ مِنَ الْعَالَمِينَ. How can you engage in this action? There is no tangible benefit that comes out. With a husband and wife, you have hope for children, and you have hope for, natural solace and companionship in nikah. This unnatural way, what do you stand to gain from there in the long run? And then after pointing out that this is the wrong that they're engaged in, وَتَذَرُونَ مَا خَلَقَ لَكُمْ رَبُّكُم مِّنْ أَزْوَاجِكُم. He provides them with a solution. A medical practitioner. You go to a doctor, and if the doctor just told you, yeah, you're sick, you'd be like, okay, I can kind of see that. That's why I'm in the walk-in clinic for this long. Give me a prescription. Tell me what I can do to, so either my immune system can kick in, or I can take some medication and help whatever is fighting, get over it. So he provided them a solution. وَتَذَرُونَ مَا خَلَقَ لَكُمْ رَبُّكُم مِّنْ أَزْوَاجِكُم. You people, you're doing this wrong, but you're leaving out the natural counterparts that Allah has created from you, min azwajikum, from your wives. Allah has given you your wives. We all have passion. We all have urges. Fulfill those urges like that. And then, after he realized that these people were not going to accept what he was saying, sure, they weren't going to accept, but they became aggressive. He responded in a way that really shows prophetic da'wah and wisdom. He said, Inni li'amalikum min al-qalin. If you're not going to change, that's fine. I can only be responsible for what I can say, not your behavior and your actions. But inni li'amalikum min al-qalin, I detest your behavior. I disapprove of this behavior. The hadith that we mentioned in the beginning. Whichever one of you sees something wrong happening, فَلْيُغَيِّرْهُ بِيَدِهِ, physically change it. فَإِن لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ, if he is not able to physically change it, like many of us right now, فَبِلِسَانِهِ, at least verbalize your disapproval that Allah's commands are being broken and disobedience is reigning on earth. And if you can't even do that, فَبِقَلْبِهِ, at least consider it something sick. So you see the flags over there, and you feel a little bit concerned of what's happening. So now, some of you, because we're living in a very leftist environment, some of us might feel, including myself, alhamdulillah, a long, long time ago, but alhamdulillah I got over it. Some of us might feel that if some people are showing their affection to one another in their own way, why as Muslims do we need to talk about this? Okay? You might feel that. Live and let live. Let them do their thing. So the answer to this is in multifold. Number one, if you study the history of this, so last year in October, I got to go to Houston, and there was this American Muslim, this Assembly of Muslim Jurists in America. So they have this get together once a year, and they speak about relevant issues. One of the relevant issues they spoke about was the history of the LGBTQ movement in the United States. If anyone's versed on this, clued up on this just a little bit, you'll understand the phases it went through from 1960s, 70s, the sexual revolution, and basically by the 80s, it was completely removed as a psychological disorder. But prior to that, it was considered something that was a psychological disorder. It was a disease. That how can someone engage in this behavior? And this isn't religious. This is the scientific field, the medical field. So now you'll say, okay, yes, they made it easy for people to do what they wanted. And right now you will find that many people who engage in this lifestyle, very flamboyantly, they will say that it is because we have been victimized for the last 40 years that now June is celebrated as now we're out of the closet. We're free to be ourselves. We're free to express our desires. So it is only because of the oppression of the last 40, 50 years that now we're free. We've got freedom. Let us celebrate this freedom. That's what they would say. Okay? That is wrong. Yes, definitely there were instances of oppression that took place in the 60s and 70s. But right now, the movement has evolved to just let us do our thing. Now is let us convince you that what we are doing is fine, and let us convince you that what your children learn is also fine. Why? Is because affirmative action. Everyone should be free to do what they want to do. Now, one of the biggest harms of this, and one of the objectives of this movement over the last 3 or 4 decades, is how to separate religion from the average folks. You look at yourself, you and I, we look at ourselves, and we look at the perception of morality that we have, of haya. You look at the average person. Most people have their haya, their morality, from religion. Religion tells them you can't commit incest. I don't need to explain what incest is, but religion tells them that. Logically, there is nothing that would seem it would be wrong. If you are looking for a partner of a certain age, well, you could just look at home. This is logic. However, morally, religion tells us, no, this is impermissible. The whole concept of nikah, the whole concept of muharram, these women are haram, these mahram, these women are haram. All that religion tells us. If society is to be changed in its worldview of losing the importance of believing in a religion, you would attack morality. And that's what you see right now. The leftist mindset is such that you don't need religion to tell you about morality. You have evolved. You're in 2025. You are intelligent human beings. You can figure it out yourself. So the common questions or objections that people engage when we speak about this is that, look, animals engage in this behavior. Why can't humans also engage in the same behavior? If it was unnatural, animals wouldn't do it. Okay. Now, as absurd as that question is, pause, step back, and look at examples of how animals mate in the animal kingdom. The praying mantis and how it does, the black widow and how they do. If humans were to engage in this similar behavior and then get arrested and show up in court and be like, well, the black widow, she kills her mate after mating, so I just followed that. Do you think that answer would hold up in court? Obviously not. As humans, we are ashraf al-makhluq. وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ. We've been created the best of creation. Why would we then leave aside morality and look at animals and see, okay, they do that, okay, we could do that? It doesn't make sense. It would be very absurd for a person to think that way. Second point, that if a person does feel this way, and throughout history, people have felt things. Sometimes we feel like doing something wrong. Sometimes, say for example, if someone was going to a store and they shoplifted and they got caught, if they justified their answer by saying, well, I saw it there, I didn't have money in my pocket, I felt like taking it, would that answer hold? Or would you be told, hey, we all have urges, but you have to think about the consequences. You have to think about what you are doing, is that right or wrong? So obviously, same thing applies here. We all have urges, we all have but we look at the consequence and we look at ourselves as, by ihtiram, as honorable people. Now, one more point we'll mention and then we'll wrap it up inshallah, is that the argument that's presented is, what two people do behind closed doors, it's nobody else's business if it's not harming anyone. Purely, logical reasoning. Two people, they're both consenting adults, they do something behind closed doors, it doesn't harm anyone, it's fine. The answer to that is, again, in that incest argument. Right now, Criminal Code of Canada, it has made, right now at least, incest illegal. So if a person was to engage in incest, it would be considered a crime under the Criminal Code. I'll give you one better. If two people consent, so these are terms that we're not supposed to mention, but I'm mentioning so you understand this concept. Necrophilia. If a person is passing away and they write in their will that my body is fair game for anyone who wants to engage in behavior, even if they're consenting and the person who's engaging in that behavior is consenting, the law will say this is illegal. Why? Is because the law has certain limits to morality. Where those limits get changed is where there is this lobby, the Pride movement, where there's money to be made. Now those laws get changed. As Muslims, we don't get our morality from other human beings. We get our morality from Allah, who created all humanity. So when we understand this, we have to remind ourselves that this is something wrong. If somebody is engaged in this behavior, that's their own personal thing. But we ensure that our family and our ummah understands the same thing that happened to Lut alayhi salam's people should not happen to our people. Those who do wrong will always do wrong. You won't be able to convince everybody that what they are doing is wrong and they should. Lut alayhi salam, he was a prophet, he had to do this. We might not be able to. But what we can do is worry about ourselves and ensure that us and our children understand you cannot live and let live all the time. Sometimes you have to understand that what these people are doing is wrong. Yes, you wish well for them. You wish well for everyone. Allah wishes well for everyone. Allah wants all of His creation to go to Jannah. But people will commit sins. If somebody is on that path, what would we advise them? We would advise them to get help. Like anybody else who's sick. You don't tell the person to stay sick. You tell the person that get help, get treatment, get therapy. Same thing applies in this. May Allah protect us and all of our family members from the fumes of this khubuth. Ameen. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillah.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. 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 أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر، الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
Assalamu alaikum. Just few announcements, bear with me today. Mustafa Academy is opening their third branch in JRJ Mosque from September, from kindergarten till grade 6. The curriculum is the normal curriculum of the government. And there will be open house this Sunday, 15 June, from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock p.m. and Sunday, 22nd June, from 2 to 4 p.m. as well. And ICNA is going to have the Heritage Festival 2025 in August 16th in Edmonton. So they are looking for someone, or you or someone you know wants to showcase halal food at one of the biggest community events. This is the time. So you can register for that with ICNA, inshallah. And today, inshallah, the neighbor net after Asr at 8:30 to 8:30 p.m. will be taking time job interviews, inshallah, for Muslim boys who are in junior high and high school students encouraged to attend. And our summer camp, inshallah, will start at the end of June, inshallah, June 30th. And we have some spots left. And I urge every one of you, if you have kids between the age 8 to 15, to join, inshallah. We are doing this for the community because the purpose of it is they are going to socialize with their Muslim friends, and inshallah they will be good friends in the future. Plus, it adds up that they will learn so many things, inshallah, this summer. And there will be pizza sales, inshallah, outside, so as you go, you can take. Our friends from Red Deer Mosque, they are coming. They have a project of 1.1 million. And they have collected 70%, and they are almost in the finishing up of the project. So they will be outside. Inshallah, whatever we can do, we can give. Inshallah, let's show them our generosity so that they will complete the project, inshallah. And then, as usual, donate for the masjid as you go out, inshallah. And I forgot one more, I think. Okay. Next week. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر، الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
الحمد لوليه والصلاة على نبيه وبعد. قال الله تعالى: ولوطا آتيناه حكما وعلما ونجيناه من القرية التي كانت تعمل الخبائث. وقال أيضا: قل لا يستوي الخبيث والطيب ولو أعجبك كثرة الخبيث. وقال النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام: من رأى منكم منكرا فليغيره بيده فإن لم يستطع فبلسانه فإن لم يستطع فبقلبه وذلك أضعف الإيمان. قولوا قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا مولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله قال الله تعالى إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد عبدك ورسولك وصل على المؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات وبارك على محمد وأزواجه وذريته اللهم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار اللهم أيد الإسلام وأنصاره وأذل الشرك وأشراره اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين اللهم انصر إخواننا المستضعفين في كل مكان يا رب العالمين اللهم احفظ الحرمين الشريفين اللهم حرر القدس الشريف من قبض المحتلين عباد الله رحمكم الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون اذكروا الله تعالى يذكركم وادعوه يستجب لكم ولذكر الله تعالى أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون. Please straighten the sufuf and move forward.
Fill the gaps, please. There are people outside, inshallah, so that everyone will fit. الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله هيا على الصلاة هيا على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. ولا تدع مع الله إلها آخر لا إله إلا هو كل شيء هالك إلا وجهه له الحكم وإليه ترجعون. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.